Every car has a story, each one unique and personal. Watch now as their owners share their passion, their energy, and their Healey stories.
I'm Guy Roberts, and this is my Healey story. Yeah, I grew up in Canada, so there weren't many English sports cars around. But I remember there was a guy lived not too far away from us, and he had an MG, but a rubber bumper MG, which wasn't my thing. And we're going back a bit now. But he also had a Healey, and he had the early Heats, so a BN1 or BN2, and I remember it was British Racing Green, so it was the right British Racing Green, if you know. Of course I know that now. At the time I just reacted, I think, to the colour, to the and just the line. I think just the most beautiful lines of a post-war car. I got interested in Healeys because of the shape, the look. I'm a designer, and for me it's a visual thing. It's all about the form of the car, and I think that Healey right from the very start just had something just super special about it. Proportion is a very, very important thing for me, and then the way it's proportioned is just so. It's got a lovely long nose, and it's got one of the best butts in the business, as you want to. Just the back end is just phenomenal. It's an amazing car. I think the car design as such, it reached a certain point, a zenith in the sort of late 50s, early 60s. For me, as being a designer, being visually oriented, they just have so much to offer. They've got all the bits and chrome and the wood and the leather. It just does so much more for me than any modern car or supercar or anything like that. I've read all the books, about where Jerry Coker got the inspiration, or where it might have come from. The fact that the Ferraris just after the war were a big influence and that kind of thing. But I think he did something very special. I know design, so I know that Donald Healey was the boss. But I know that there's one man's eye when it comes to the form, the shape of a car, and he did an amazing job. They're just such beautiful, beautiful cars. And the original is obviously the purist's dream, but I think they did manage to keep it looking very special right until the end. Shame it had to end. My car is a 1965 BJ8, so 3000 Mark III. It was originally exported, as I think 90% of them were, from the UK to America. I have the title of the last owner in America, and he lived in Philadelphia. It was exported back to the UK by a dealer in the late 80s. Who bought, I think, 4 or 5 of them. I tried at least 3 of them. This one was it was a bit of a wreck, but it was running and driving, and for the princely sum of £9,000 back in 1989, 90, something like that, it was mine. Of course, then I had the issue of importing it and going through that little nightmare, and that was a nightmare. I fell in love with the cars. I wanted one, and so I did some incredibly stupid things, just thinking I'll buy it and see what happens. So things like VTV, which is VAT, so import tax. I hadn't thought about that, so And what makes this Healey special is that it's mine, and I've done what I wanted to do, and there's a certain amount of pressure that you feel towards the mark, in terms of originality, that kind of thing. But knowing what I know now after so many years of ownership, and knowing how many beautiful original matching numbers, perfect paint, etc., cars out there that there are, when it came to restoring it, I thought to myself, well, rather than trying to do something which I probably couldn't do, which was to turn it back to an original car, yeah, why not have some fun and make it mine? And so things like, yeah, the paint obviously, it's apple candy, and I watched far too many of the Kindig Customs and all the other programs, obviously, but I loved it, and I love the way it pops in the sun. I luckily found the guy I restored it with, Gabor, and he had some contacts, and a painter particularly, Leo, who just did an amazing job, considering he's never done one of these before. And of course the process is that it's painted silver first, and then it's painted with successive layers of transparent red. Basically you're looking through the red at the silver, which gives it real depth. So I love it, and I think it's so different, unique, especially in the Healey world. I also, did some things to it that I always thought just looked great. So the vents in the side, but I always thought that the vents were too big. The rally vents are quite large. So I asked. In fact, this was Mark Schmidt back in the day. Anyway, but I asked him if he could make them a little bit smaller, and he did that. So, and I think these are just the right. So again, back to that, for me, the proportion, size, scale, things very important to me. But I also did things to modernize it, so it's got discs on the back, disc conversion. I'd love to get into the whole fuel issue, so see if we could get fuel injection system in there, but I think that would really improve it. A lot that the SUs, SUs, as long as they're balanced and run well, they're fantastic. I think Webers, you have to be a bit of a wizard to understand Webers and really get into them. But I've also done things that, so the heater, for example, the original heater core was rusted solid. It had never worked while I owned the car. It was a question: do you restore, repair, try and find a new one, try it, whatever, of the heater? Or do you take the easy course, or not so easy course, but maybe the smart course, which is what I did, and put a mini heater in there. So it's a little mini heater. It's much smaller. Works fine. Can't see it. It's behind the dashboard. So, and it's it's perfect. So that kind of thing. And I've also got modern convenience. There's a USB plug in the ashtray, which you can plug your phone into. So, as I said, make it yours. Whatever it is, make it yours. I'm not a mechanic. When I restored the car, it was a professional I handed it over to, although locally, and I spent as much time as I could helping him. So I did a lot of the strip down, that kind of thing. And originally I was going to go much further with the how can I say it, the customizing of the car. We considered using a two-seater shroud on a VJ8, which would work. We even tried it, fitted it, and it would work. But it would be pretty unique. Turn a 2+2 into a two-seat. I do as much as I can myself, but it doesn't amount to a great deal. And since Black Magic, the company that I use to look after the car, is relatively close by, and Gabor is a wonderful guy. I sit and drink coffee with him and watch him work. The first holiday I did with my wife around the Pyrenees in South France was amazing. She doesn't like it when I drive fast. She always refers to it as the tour le jour, so she likes to just bumble along. But do you know what? As I get older, I quite enjoy that too. So just touring in the car is a lot of fun, and I think she enjoys that now as well. It took her a while, because as with a lot of Healeys, there are no seat belts in it. It's, as I mentioned, a very small car in today's traffic, and can be quite intimidating for somebody as a passenger. I'm involved in the Austin Healey Club of the Netherlands, and I'm also a member of the Dutch Healey competition, so the competition department of the Dutch Healey Club. Although I haven't really been, to be honest, I haven't really been that active over the years. I've taken part in a few tours here and there, a few you know, where they do the asparagus tour around here, and everybody gets together and we tour around and have a nice dinner, that kind of thing. For a long time, I was a little discouraged about actively taking part. I'm a bit of an introvert. Language was a problem, or not a problem, but I was maybe a little more conscious of it than I am now. All you need to own a Healey: mobile phone, membership of the rescue, ANWB, motor club, whatever, and a roll of duct tape. That's it. I think if you're going to dabble in any kind of classic car and stick with it, then you've got to be able to roll with the punches, because it'll happen. If they're old, something will break. And when it does, you've got to be able to take it on the chin, a little philosophically think about it and say, okay, I'm going to do. And often that's really where the fun is. I know people who have restored their Healeys, and you know, 6 months after getting it back from the restoration, they've sold it, because the fun was when it wasn't restored. The fun was when it was full of problems and you had to do whatever you had to do to keep it on the road. And when it's perfect, yeah, where's the fun? I guess one of the trips down to Le Mans might have been the craziest thing, which we did overnight, with three or four cars. I think it was 3 cars, and at night time, because at night time you can go a little faster than you I think we probably did that in about 6.5 hours from here, which is going. I also drove, the craziest thing was, I think I was a lot younger then, I drove from Barcelona back to the Netherlands in one go. So 14 hours of driving in one crack. Yeah, and that was pretty tight. And then the following day went to Zandvoort, to the classic day at Zandvoort. I think I had about an hour's sleep and then jumped back in it again. I think wherever you go in one of these, people love it. You get nothing but sort of happiness. I love it. I've loved it for a long time. Still love it. And I think if anybody was thinking about it, I'd encourage you to try, because it gives back so much more than you ever have to give it. They're wonderful things. A lot of fun. A lot of fun.
No matter where in the world you are, if you have a Healey and a story to tell, sign up to share your story. Then, if we're in your neighborhood, maybe you can be on the next Healey Stories. Visit www.austinhealeychannel.com and apply today.